Hi. Hi.
Hey, man.
Your intros have been really lackluster recently.
I figure they're kind of boring and stilted if I just say, whatever. So I'm just saying hi. I mean, that's what people want, isn't it? My voice.
Okay, let me take over the intros, Brian.
There you go,
Okay.
Steven, go.
Let's start over. Here we go.
All right, go ahead. You have 5 seconds to give us a good intro.
Okay, here we go.
Oh my
Hi.
god, you guys just suck. Hi, everybody! It's Disembodied Voices! Is that really so hard to be a little hyper and excited?
I'm excited. I'm just not hyper. See, those are two different
No,
things.
you didn't even sound excited.
No, I was very excited. You just obviously can't detect excitement.
I don't know, Brian. I think you said it's pleasant.
Oh, well, that's a good point. Yeah, but do I need to be excited? I mean, we do this every week.
I think you need to have enthusiasm and a joy for your work, but it doesn't have to be demonstrated by screaming. However, that often helps.
I didn't mean you had to scream
Yeah,
and
I'm
break the
feeling
audio.
that one.
All right. This is Disembodied Voices. Yep, it's a video game podcast, and this is episode 99.
Wow,
That's almost 100.
99.
Yes, Cameron, you're right. That is almost 100.
That's
That's
also
almost as
101.
many Final Fantasy games there are.
No, I think you're a
Zing!
little too many there.
That was a zing that was not constructed in English.
It's almost how many bad Sonic games there are.
Oh, that's better. I like that joke.
That's not funny at all. I'm eating a banana though. That's why I'm speaking strangely. At least partially. I'm also speaking strangely because it's me. That's who I am.
Weird.
So that whole ability comes from the bananas you eat?
Well, if I'm currently eating bananas, it makes it hard to speak.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That's all I'm saying here.
So, in case you haven't noticed by how dumb this podcast has been so far, Zach is not here.
Yeah, that's true. That's too bad, actually.
He's not here to rein us in and talk about visual novels.
Wait, is that reining in?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I don't think that any other podcast would have the definition of reining themselves in. We talk about visual novels.
Well, we aren't any other podcast, are we?
that's definitely true. That's
Exactly.
true.
So, but people who are here includes myself. How are you doing, me? Well, I'm doing pretty well. I had a fun day, though I got up a little bit late, so this podcast was a very sudden thing I had to do. And that
I think
Kinda so.
okay. Slow down the fun train, Brian.
What? I'm talking to me, Steven, please.
Slow it down.
Okay.
I want to say something. I think that the reason that this intro has been scattered and dumb is because
It's not dumb anymore.
had been
Had been.
is because I don't know about you, but I literally ran into the room, threw headphones on, and started recording.
You guys have no one to blame but yourself.
Well,
Cameron is in a very vindictive mood today.
I'm just saying.
I'm not quite sure why
who is
yet.
the one here on time?
Brian, be
Well, Cameron-
a sleuth, man. I know why.
Okay. why?
Because A, we were a little bit late when we're supposed to be live streaming this,
Yeah.
Yes.
and B, he's tired.
I am drinking coffee though, which is making me not so. That's the reason I'm not horrible right now. Is because I'm also.
See, and by the end of this podcast, Cameron is going to be like a cast member of My Little Pony who will be such good friends with us.
I will never be as good as them in terms of friendship.
Are you sure?
Yeah, pretty sure.
I thought we were already there. I thought we were.
No,
I would.
Do you think it would help if we sang more?
that would probably make things a little worse, honestly.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought too.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, so that's why Cameron was grumpy. That's
I'm not grumpy.
that's why vindictive. That's why we are late, I suppose. But
Wait. We're late because we're late? Steven, your logic here is getting circular.
Dang it.
All
Okay,
right.
continue with whatever you're saying.
Anyway, so I'm doing well, me. Cameron, how are you doing?
We've been through how I'm doing.
Well, we know you're tired. That's true.
That's how I'm doing.
What have you been doing?
Nothing.
Fine.
I woke up.
I didn't just mean today.
Oh, you mean like in general?
Yeah.
Well, funny you should ask. No, it's not really that
No.
funny because we play our video game podcast. So okay, I guess I'll start with something that I just recently bought and played a little bit of. And
Okay.
What?
Wait, Steven, what?
I just was never introduced.
No one cares. Anyways,
Aw.
we know who you are, Steven.
All right. Steven.
Yeah.
Hello, my brother.
Hi.
All right, Cameron,
Thanks.
continue.
Audio Surf 2.
Explain that. I'm excited about that.
You should be.
Is it good?
It's okay. So
Never good when it
it's a
that's so qualified.
it's a mess right now because it's pre-release.
Yep.
Like the menus are just atrocious. I'm not even sure what he was thinking. It's just convoluted and backwards and
Uh-huh.
ugly. Um, but that's really the only thing that's a big problem right now. The rest of the game is very, very solid. But the thing is, it's just audio surf. It's just more fancy audio surf, except for one thing, and that is wakeboarding, which is the most fun thing I've had since the original audio surf in terms of the whole music stuff. Because it's like, it's you guys when you played audio surf, what mono mostly. No one ever played anything else except mono.
Pretty much.
So
Yeah.
wakeboarding is mono, except it's a combination of mono and then a new aspect which is wakeboarding. And so you're on a wakeboard and your character's being drugged by two boats on the side of the screen, and the music when it hits higher, like heavier notes, and you flip your mouse and you flip your character off of the wake of the beat, and he flings up into the air, and you can do tricks in the air, and the bigger the drop of the music, the higher you go, and the more tricks you can do in midair. And so not only are you getting points from the tricks in the air, but the more gray blocks you had collected, from the gameplay before you did the jump, the better the multiplier is of the score in the air. So some songs wouldn't have very many drops because it's just a slower song, but you can still gather
Mm-hmm.
points. And then when the song does have one, like going into a rock area, heavier area, then you have all these point multipliers collected up, and you can bust off the wave and fly in the air and get tons and tons and tons of points, and then land, and it's so satisfying. It's so satisfying that when I went to try to play regular mono by itself, I was bored because it's so fun to just take your mouse and flick it really hard up into the air, and your character flings into the sky, and
How
it's
do you do tricks?
mouse buttons.
Okay.
Like left is a button, left is a move, right is a move, wheel was a move, and then both the buttons down is like a 10-second move. So if you can manage, I've only found one song so far where I've gotten a 10-second airtime.
What song is that?
Um, uh, it's from the new Avenged Sevenfold album. It's doing time, and it's because it has this like dun 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 dun, and the song slows down and it goes and it blows up into this big section. So if you hit the jump right before that last rock spot,
Uh-huh.
you can jump over like the entire solo basically.
So are you allowed to jump whatever you want?
You can, but you're not going to get any air if the song is slow.
Do you want to look like when the song dips down is when you want to jump?
Yeah, like they give you
Because
Okay.
there's more space between you and the
Yeah.
ground. Because
exactly.
it just shoots
like
down.
taking a
It's
ramp.
like a physical thing.
Okay.
You're not. Yeah, think about it physically, because if the song is going uphill and you try to jump, well, that's stupid. You just go thunk and hit the water again.
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
it's kind of just bumpy, you're only going to get a little bit of air. But if it's going straight down and there's a wake right before the drop, then you're obviously going to fly for a long time down the hill.
So like basically one sustained note that slowly becomes quieter for like 10 minutes would be the optimal course.
No, it would be, the best course would be probably a dubstep drop.
Oh, okay.
I was about to say that whole thing sounds made for dubstep.
Well, yeah, but it works really well in rock stuff too, because I mean it doesn't require like a dubstep type of drop to work well. It works really well with just guitar solos or just little pauses in music, like how some songs have a break where they just stop playing for a couple seconds.
Yeah.
That those will work just as well. But it would probably be the optimal in a dubstep drop, because it would be like the build up and then you could jump off the build up and then boom,
So,
fly down the whole song.
do you think knowing a song well helps you perform?
They give you visual cues on when the best time to jump off a wake is. Like the waves go a little wider
Right.
when it's a better idea to jump. So not necessarily. However, it would probably help to know when the song.
Okay.
But again, you can see the track,
Yeah.
so you know when it's gonna dip. So you could probably get a good feel for it, regardless of whether or not you've played the song before.
Gotcha. I am interested in seeing that when it comes into full release hood because Audio Surf is actually my first game I ever got on Steam.
Same here.
Yep.
But
I wonder why that was.
I don't think I would hold if you wanting it. If you're really wanting it, I wouldn't think holding off on buying it is worth it because honestly, the only thing that makes it kind of seem like it's a beta is the menu system. The rest of the game is completely intact. There's like 7 or 8 game modes. Steam Workshop is intact, so that people are making mods of special game modes. Game modes however they want. So it's really, really a very intact game, except for the menu system.
Yes, but you see, if I say I'm waiting for the full release, that gives me an excuse to not be playing it because I don't have time.
Oh,
And then it gives you an excuse to buy it when it goes on sale for
Exactly.
like 1/10 the price, which I would feel kind of bad about actually, but
Brian,
because I liked Audio Surf a lot.
you could play that Poets of the Fall live concert on it though.
The entire hour and a half concert.
Yeah.
Okay, you sold me. You sold me.
I figured.
Cameron, that actually sounds like a wonderful use of an hour and a half. All right, I'm going to totally try that now. Not now. That would make for a pretty bad podcast.
It was just me and Cameron trying to talk while you scream, "Whoa, that was cool!"
Or sing along.
or sing. Oh,
down,
oh, jeez. Yep, they actually did sing that song at the concert.
Oh man.
They managed to make it sound pretty good for that song, though. I don't love that song though. Also, what songs have you played so far?
I did a couple of the new Event Sevenfold songs. I did actually. I tried to do a dubstep song. It worked pretty well. And that dubstep song was a Zelda remix, which was really, really cool sounding.
Weird random question. Why are they sevenfold and not eightfold?
It's a biblical term.
Okay, just making sure.
Seven.
Why do they want to avenge it?
Because it's dumb.
They want to avenge the Bible because it's dumb.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I now understand them.
That's not exactly what
I hear that a lot these days.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay. Anything else, Cameron?
I did play something else. I can't remember what it was. It was like, I played
like
a couple of Reliant K songs.
You were like controlling units from a top-down perspective and like making a bunch of people with guns and shooting all these little alien things.
What?
It was that thing you're like giving them orders and binding hotkeys or something.
Are you trying to transition into StarCraft?
Well, Cameron, what do you think?
Well, I think that was a
Were you playing another game
I think that was a really bad transition.
Well, I'm just trying to jog your memory so I don't have to say it for you.
Here, I'll help jog his memory. Cameron, were you playing StarCraft 2?
No, actually.
Oh, shoot. See, Steven, he was playing the other game where you bind hotkeys.
Yeah.
And make a bunch
Wait,
of
Heart of the Swarm.
Oh, no.
Duh, Steven.
Duh, me.
Duh.
Yep. Anyway, so StarCraft. Yeah, you played that, didn't you, Cameron?
Yeah, well, so did you.
Well, yeah, I did, but
Yeah.
we're on games right now, not mine.
Oh, well, we have to talk together about it since we played it together.
All right, fine. So we played StarCraft.
There you go.
Surprise!
Yeah,
We lost one.
We lost N1, yes.
Yeah.
We lost majorly when we didn't do our rush strategy.
Yes.
When we did our rush strategy, we won often. So we
Yeah.
stopped doing anything but the rush.
Pretty much, and if it's a bad map or bad factions or bad circumstances, we're pretty much dead.
Yeah, it comes to the point where it's like 3 or 4 maps that's like, we can't do the rush, so let's try going mid-game, but we suck mid-game, so we're obviously going to lose. And if it's 2 Zerg, we're going to lose. And if it's 2 Protoss, we're going to lose. And if it's a Zerg and a Protoss, we're probably going to lose too. And it's just like, we got to figure out why we suck.
Our mid-game mostly consists of, I think I'm doing pretty well this time, getting some units up. I have like 5, oh my gosh! And that's when their army hits us at our front door and we die.
Hey, I had more than 5 units that time we went mid-game. I had like 7 siege tanks and a whole bunch of Marines, but you had a lot of stuff too, but he still killed us.
Yeah, okay, fine. I was being hyperbolic.
So, wait,
15.
So you're saying you can successfully fend off an attack of a certain strategy?
Well, no, what we're saying is we often and in general can beat an enemy before he can get his army up.
Oh, so it's just the time. If you don't smash them in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Like
right,
we've beaten every combination of faction with our rush strategy. I'm pretty sure. The only time that we have problems
Zerg is the big thing that is tough to beat.
Yeah, the only time we have problems is when they have enough time to get enough units out. Because with our strategy, I have so many units out early on, and Brian is not far behind, but I have a tiny bit stronger army than him. But if we rush that early game, most players, in Silver League anyways, cannot get enough units up to stop us. However, there are some that can't, and that's when we lose. Because if they have one more unit than us and they can push us back in that initial wave, we're just done. We're toast. We can't.
Yeah, we're so practiced at the early game that we're like 90% efficiency at this point. But go beyond that, like to where we have to get a second base or something, and we're like 30% efficiency. So we start to be doing so poorly, floundering and not knowing what we're supposed to do after that initial push. Plus, if you put all your resources into a rush, it's really hard to transition out of that because they've already got a second base and we haven't yet, and all that sort of stuff.
It's the same concept with like if a player was to do a harass strategy in the beginning of the game, which means getting Reapers, getting Oracles, and bug the base in hopes that they will quit, and that fails. Then they're behind in minerals, in production, in regular
an army mostly.
An army, yeah. Same concept with the rush. If we lose that initial rush, well, we're
just kind of
rush, And then what else can we do? Well,
now we just have a weak army.
Yeah, we can build more rush units, but at that point they're weak, and we've wasted so much material on getting bases in that can produce units fast.
Yeah.
Therefore, we're not ready for more stronger units, and it's just a pain.
So we're working on a contingency plan for if a rush fails. I found a good thing I can transition into, but what we're mainly going to start working on, maybe tonight and in the future, is just practicing mid-game in general, and getting some strategies that we're fairly efficient at.
Yeah, I feel like the Terran. I said this to Brian as well. The Terran, I feel like, don't really have a very good mid or late game, in my opinion. Like, they have siege tanks, which are super awesome against ground units, but are easily destroyed by air units, and actually some ground units too. They have Thors, which are really good against air stuff, but man, they cost a lot. And like, there's not really very many good mid-game units, except maybe upgraded Marines, which is doable, I suppose. But it's like you could have an army of fully upgraded Marines with stems and everything, and still get beaten by, I don't know, Mutalisks?
Well, like I've told you, Cameron, I think when a computer plays them, because they're so good at microwing, or a really good player, if you can get Marine Marauders, Medivacs, and Siege Tanks, it is absurdly powerful. Hardest thing to fight, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I'm not that good.
Yeah, exactly. So they're,
like I said, I think I told you this as well. I could probably get 3 out of those, or 2 out of those 4.
Yeah.
And be good at it. But the rest of them, I 3 or 4 of them, I just would be confused and trying to micro too much at once. Like, what the ideal situation would be to have, to get my siege tanks in the back and siege, like if we were approaching an army. My Marines and Marauders up front, and the Medivacs on top of
between them,
right behind them a little bit though.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly what people do, and exactly what can kill me if I don't hit them with High Templars. But Steven, what should Cameron do for his mid-game strategy?
Well, I'm thinking that your reliance on siege tanks is a rookie mistake.
Okay.
Because they may seem powerful and have a lot of AEO that AOE.
Okay.
AOE that will stem the tide, especially with the Zerg rush. But you're missing the heart of the swarm, or the heart of the matter, which is the fact that you need to be doing that other thing.
You were really close to saying something really insightful.
Except to the end there. Man.
That was not bad.
Here's where I ran into a problem. I actually had to think of something you should do. I don't know anything else. That's all StarCraft knowledge I had.
I've been telling him, Cameron, that he needs to be making Marauders and give them concussive shots. Because what that allows him to do is slow the whole enemy army. And it's really helpful.
They can't attack air.
No, but your Marines can.
And but then they cut my Marine production in more than half.
That's true.
And that means I would have both less Marines and only a few Marauders because it takes longer to build them, and it costs more.
Well, in mid game, you could probably afford it.
Yeah, it's a mid game strategy. It's not a rush strategy.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Well, and plus I don't want to deal with them. They're stupid.
Okay.
I probably need to, but I don't want to.
Yeah, Steven, I think you need to, for this episode, create officially an intro for our StarCraft talk.
What should I call it?
I don't know.
StarCraft talk.
No. What do you think it should be called?
StarCraft talk.
Just take Cameron's.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, just that monotone.
Yeah.
Like do this big build up for it with all this cool like kind of StarCraft jingle or something that just had Cameron sing StarCraft talk.
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, now that you said it, I'm going to put both your voices in there.
In a little chorus.
Yeah.
All right. That's good. Okay. Now that we got that out of the way, Cameron, anything else?
I feel like there was something else. I played a little more Rayman Legends.
Yes, and you said you're having problems that you would talk about on the podcast.
I did say that. Yes.
You did say that.
The overworld sucks.
What?
Like,
No, it doesn't.
Like bad.
What? No, it doesn't.
It's convoluted. It's backwards. It's boring, and it unlocks too early, so I don't know what to play.
Well, I mean, just go through the levels in sequence.
Well,
Play whatever you want.
It's exactly, Steve. I don't like that because when it unlocks literally all the levels at once, it's like
It doesn't.
It does too.
It does not literally unlock them all at once.
I've beaten World 1 and I've beaten half of the next world, but every single other world is unlocked. Every one of them.
Well, you can just play whichever one you want.
But I don't
Yeah,
want that because the later ones are harder, the early ones are easy, so if I went and played the harder ones...
Just play through the game linearly. There is literally nothing stopping you from doing that.
I know, but it's still kind of... What's the point of unlocking them so early? That's
Because
that's not progression.
Want to do
That's not... This isn't my main gripe, guys. This is just a tangent.
I get where you're coming from. To an extent, it's not something that I would barely even mention it. Like it's such a small bother. But yeah, I mean,
it's a little counterproductive. Why would you unlock it so early if you want people to progress linearly through it, and it doesn't have any sense of progression? Anyways, that wasn't the actual main point I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
The main point was the overworld, what you call an overworld, quote unquote. It's hideously confusing and uninspired and boring and takes forever to navigate through, and I just hate it. It makes me feel like I'm playing a board game until I get to the game.
So
honestly.
On the Wii U, whenever something unlocks, it creates a little icon on the what do you call it? The gamepad.
Same thing happens on the Vita.
All right, it worked wonderfully. It was a little bit confusing, but that is such a minor complaint. You can get into a level incredibly quickly, whatever you want to do, and if you need to see something that unlocked in another place, you just tap that icon and you see it. I really can't see how that could be a problem.
The overworld had to have a notification system.
Well, there's a lot to unlock in the game.
Mario does it and better.
Mario doesn't. Well, I mean,
Mario Galaxy, there's a lot to unlock in those games, and it had a great overworld.
There's like nothing to unlock, at least of any consequence, in Mario Galaxy.
What I'm saying is, there's ways to do overworlds better than what Rayman Legends did.
There are ways, but it's just a little hallway that gets you into levels. I mean, unless you want a good overworld from it, which is not what the games are ever about, then it's not a problem.
I know that, but like even Rayman Origins had a better overworld because it was an overworld.
Oh, it's just a little world map.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay, here's the I agree that I prefer the world map as a concept more. I think that Legends has it. It's a little convoluted and I don't know. It's boring. It's boring. But if you're playing multiplayer, when you run to levels, you could smack each other the whole time. So it's totally worth it.
I'm not playing multiplayer, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I agree it's not a good overworld, but I also agree the world map in Rayman Origins is like nothing special. It was just a little sprite that you moved around.
It was more charming than this one.
It was more charming, yeah, but I mean, I guess just when I think of those games, I'm never going to say the overworld is what is a problem or not a problem about that game. Like, it's just such a minor part. It's basically just like a menu.
I know, but it's a slow, sluggish, boring menu.
Okay. It is somewhat weird, but that whole game is kind of weird. But yeah, I don't think it was well designed or anything. I never would have said that was my problem with the game, and I wasn't.
That's my only problem with the game.
Okay.
So that's not
how you framed it. I guess how you originally framed it, it sounded like you weren't enjoying it very much anymore because of that. But maybe I got the wrong impression.
No. The game is great. I just like to be a little bit. I gotta bring up the bad things in games.
Okay.
I think it's just compared to how brilliant and perfect and
that's a good
intelligent everything else is. It's like, why is this menu? So haphazard.
Yep, that's a good point, Steven. Because the game is really fun and really good and really entertaining, and I like it a lot. And I want to play more, but I just keep forgetting to play it because I'm playing StarCraft all night.
Yep.
So,
Wait, speaking of StarCraft for 1 second.
Oh, put in the
Um,
transition.
oh, okay. What is your reaction if I say learn how to play StarCraft on the new Steam controller?
I haven't played with the new Steam controller, so I
Well,
don't
like
know.
from what you've seen of it, like what would you imagine that being like?
the the way that the Steam controller has been described to me seems like it would be okay for first-person shooters on the PC. Like it's a good substitute, well, quote unquote, good substitute for a mouse. RTS takes a lot more precision and a lot of really fast-moving
Like, I
mouse
don't think you could
movements.
ever effectively play StarCraft on a couch just because you had to like select a Zergling or a Marine.
And if it's like on the other side of the room,
How are you gonna like pinpoint that thing?
Yeah, it seems it's even a super precise controller like what this one has been described to be. To
Oh,
me,
also,
is
go
not
ahead, Ken.
is not not going to be precise enough.
And I forgot that isn't nearly the biggest problem. Hotkeys. You can't play StarCraft without hotkeys. So you
Oh
could never
yeah,
play StarCraft on that thing.
wait, how many hockeys do you need?
at
Pretty much at least 1 through 5 on the number keys, and then you need W, E, Q, R, A, S,
T
D.
U V
Pretty
B.
much the entire left side of the keyboard.
Yeah. Now I guess the touchscreen could kind of
It could never be good enough, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the market they're going for. I mean, if you wanted to play the StarCraft campaign casually, you probably could. But if
Mhm.
you ever wanted to go online, you would just lose.
Yeah, it's not ideal, and I don't think it'll ever be ideal. Except for maybe a controller specifically designed to play StarCraft with a bunch of hotkeys in the back or something. Like you know how
Right.
your fingers kind of just sit there in the back of your controller and don't do anything. If there was
Mhm.
buttons back there, that would probably help. But
Yeah.
still, ugh, no thanks.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it could be great for that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes. Why were you planning on that?
Nope.
Okay.
Definitely was not planning to buy a Steam box
It's
thingy.
like,
And
that's what'll make
controller.
me get into
Yeah,
StarCraft.
that's what I've been waiting for. My frustrations will be over.
Did you see what the specs of the first Steam boxes are going to be?
I did.
Yeah, those are pretty impressive.
Well, yeah, they're it's Steam. What do you expect them to put like a
I was
560
expecting
Ti?
like yeah, exactly. I was expecting maybe like 5 MB of RAM. Um,
Ryan, shut up.
okay, I'll be quiet now. Anyway,
and, yeah, the Steam box looks interesting. We haven't talked about the Steam box at all, have we?
I don't. I think we talked about SteamOS.
So look,
I think.
here is. Did we though?
I don't know. I know. I talked to you.
Yeah,
about
and
it.
I voiced my concern, but I don't think we ever. I can't remember talking about it specifically.
All right, let's talk about Steam and Valve.
I think SteamOS is a bad idea.
You think it's a bad
Well,
idea?
no, I think it's too ambitious.
You think it's too ambitious?
Yes,
Okay.
I don't mind Steam trying to build a new OS. That's really cool.
Okay.
Go Valve. The fact that it's based on Linux is the
Yes.
problem here.
What are they supposed to do? Base it on Windows?
I
You
don't,
can't
I don't,
base one on Windows,
I don't
can you?
know what they're supposed to do. But
Well, if they want to create an OS, I think they have to.
well, then don't
I
create
mean,
an
I'm not
OS.
very smart.
Because listen, the fact
Okay,
is
so that you don't think they should.
the fact is that it's never going to be backwards compatible with games
Mm-hmm.
ever. So
Mhm.
I would always have to have a dual boot back into my Windows computer to play
Alright.
any game made before
All right.
2013.
Here's my argument for that, though. Microsoft makes a pretty bad OS in a lot of ways. It's getting worse, and they're getting more tablet focused in a lot of ways. And they're not a company that the majority of consumers, especially gaming consumers, can on. If you don't change it at some point, you'll literally be tied to Windows forever for any gaming. At some point, don't you have to create another OS that can support games on
That is
computers?
why I'm happy that they're doing it.
Okay,
But-
so you think
But
Okay,
it's still
go ahead.
it's going to be a serious problem for a long
Mhm.
time.
I agree.
Because even if they can get the footholding and get all AAA titles, new ones to come out on their
Mhm.
SteamOS, which they're not, at least at first, it's still going to be a matter of I want to play Portal 2. Well, no, that's not bad because they'll have that. I want to play Audio Surf 2.
Mhm.
Well, I can't, so let me dual boot back into Windows. It's going to be a very, very
Well-
bad growing pains for a long time.
They're not so much, at least with their Steam box, they're not trying to do the dual boot thing because they're trying to add that streaming thing. If that works,
I don't. That's not going to work. I don't trust streaming. There's no way that streaming is going to be perfect.
look good enough and have good
yeah,
enough.
without dedicated hardware like the Wii U did. Does.
Yeah.
I say did like the Wii U's done.
I assume the Steam box does not have dedicated
Well,
hardware.
even if it does, I don't have dedicated hardware. So
Right.
my computer is not dedicated hardware. It's made for streaming.
Well, plus you're not going to buy a second computer for SteamOS. You would like theoretically install it on your current
No,
one.
that's not what I mean. By dedicated
Okay.
hardware, I don't mean a dedicated computer. I mean dedicated piece of hardware inside of the computer that just does.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying, like, even if they like sold that separately to plug into computers somehow or something, like if you're not buying a second computer for SteamOS, you're not going to be able to use the streaming.
Well, no.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you're confusing me.
I'm saying, okay, let me put it this way. They say you can stream from your existing computer and use SteamOS to play existing games.
Yeah.
But if you were just to install SteamOS on your existing computer, you would not be able to stream from your Windows because they'd be on the same computer.
Yeah. I thought you meant.
So I'm saying it's
having
not
a Steam
really,
box.
it doesn't really solve that problem.
No, it doesn't. And again, I don't think streaming is going to be worth it anyways. So then we have a problem of my 1,500 plus games on my computer right now not working on SteamOS. Therefore, I'm not going to install SteamOS because why not just if Call of Duty? No, that's a bad example. If Battlefield 4 is going to come out on SteamOS and Windows, but I can play everything else on Windows too. I'm sorry. As much as I want SteamOS to work, I'm not going to install SteamOS and play Battlefield 4 on it because I might as well just leave it on Windows, which works perfectly fine. And,
I see it. Yeah.
And play all my stuff on Windows.
I see it as a little similar to Steam as it started out. You know, you could pretty much only play Valve games on Steam. And I think they're going to, it's going to be for select games for a while. And if they can repeat what they've done with Steam, then it'll be a success.
If
at some point.
Yeah, but again, they have that problem where it's like even back then when Steam only had Half-Life games on it, you could press minimize and play whatever you wanted immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like one of the big differences is back then they weren't segmenting your existing library. No one had digital games on their PC, and Steam was the first home for digital games. And now there's this huge library of them. And not only are they taking that away from you, but you can't just install your old games either. So it really is taking it to a new land of mystery and danger. And a few brave soldiers will want to go into this war on the other end of the world. And that'll be exciting. But for the average consumer, the average bloke who has some video games on his computer, this isn't going to be worth it for a long time.
Right.
So I don't think
yeah.
it doesn't mean it's a bad idea. It just means that they're taking a huge leap. And like you said, Brian, it has to be taken eventually. So might as well be Valve. Might as well be now.
There's no harm in it because obviously, unless they become evil people, they're going to release all their games on Windows and this anyway. And on top of that, everyone else is going to keep releasing for Windows. So it won't segment or hurt the existing market in any way, but it will finally open up the door for there being a
segment things eventually. That's not the word. Segment. I guess that's
I
the
think
word.
segment's a word.
It doesn't sound like a word. That's weird.
Okay.
I think it will eventually. Maybe not immediately, but if it does get footholding, then a year, 2 years, maybe 3 down the line, all of a sudden, Call of Duty 7, we're tired of making games, is going to come out on only SteamOS and not Windows. And then there's going to be a big transition period where, of years where games are slowly trickling away from the PC. This is assuming, of course, that they get footholding. Trickling away from Windows and coming out of SteamOS, and therefore we're going to have many years of separate releases on separate consoles, and that's where it's going to hurt the consumer.
Well, here's the part of the equation that makes all of this so strange is that we've been doing this very thing with consoles since the NES. Once you buy your SNES, then you can't play your old games on it. You had to keep your NES around. You have to dual boot your computer by hooking up 2 consoles to it. But for computer games, it has always just been I run it on Windows 98, and now I run it on Windows 7, and it's been Windows the whole time. There hasn't been a major competitor, nowhere even close to that. And so,
Well, I think that was the point of having a PC though.
right.
The reason that people bought, well, one of the reasons that people bought a PC over a console was because of the fact that it's backwards compatible and that you have all this upgrading options. So by doing this, they're actually getting rid of a lot of that. They're getting rid of upgrading options. They're getting rid of um, your ability to be backwards compatible. So it's kind of like a step back in a way because it's way more like a console than I think it should be.
So what happens if next year Microsoft says Xbox is funner, people are mean to Windows, and we're going to stop making it? What would
Stop
happen?
making Windows?
Yes, just they stop making Windows.
They're not gonna.
Well,
Everyone
this is
would just keep
completely
using
theoretical.
the existing version of Windows.
Yeah.
And developers would-
Forever? They just keep using that forever?
Well, no.
No.
Then it probably either like some bistro of Linux or Mac OS X will get more popular.
someone would buy the Windows licensing rights and start
Yeah.
updating in their stead.
It's like it becomes some kind of weird smaller company or user developed.
Apple will buy it. I don't know.
I can see
I mean,
that.
it's just, is it worth it? Is it worth developing an OS built for video games if that means taking the step and pretty much saying there are pre Steam OS games and post Steam OS games?
I think absolutely, because just why not? If it's bad, then it won't get the support and it won't really it won't take off. And if it's really great and developers love it way more and so on, I mean, it's worth making the transition at some point.
But I feel like it's going to be at least 10 years until it becomes, if it even catches on at all with AAA developers, it'll be at least 10 years before people drop Windows completely.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
use
I don't see Windows dropping.
And I
completely.
don't see myself, even if all these AAA games are starting to pick it up, companies, I mean, I will still not use it until there's no games I want to play on the PC anymore, which is impossible.
Something else that will be interesting to see in the next 10 years is streaming will get much, much better very quickly, I'm guessing.
Until there is less than 50 ping or 50 latency between my stream and my mouse, it's unplayable. It just is.
Right.
And
Well,
keep in mind
go
that
ahead.
multiplayer games run at about between 30 and 60 ping, and 100 ping is getting to be the unplayable area. So it
And
just
currently, what do you think like Wii U streaming is?
Wii U was almost flawless. It was like probably 30 or 40.
Okay. I bet in the next 3 years they could get a perfectly workable solution.
I really think the only reason the Wii U has got it so perfect is because it has dedicated hardware for it.
I think they could release dedicated hardware for it then.
Well, it would need to be dedicated hardware that I had to plug into my computer too, though. is the
Exactly.
problem.
And I bet Valve will release that if it's the only option, given how creative they're being about this.
well, we live in a world in which virtual reality is literally something we can buy for a couple of $100s, and I can purchase a Nintendo Pokemon game on my phone. So
That is
look,
crazy.
But that's a different thing than actually trying to physically make software that doesn't, our hardware that wasn't meant to do something, which is what we're trying to do with streaming. Like on live, our computers were not meant to receive and send out that much data that fast. And on live is trying to do it, and therefore they can't.
Yes, but on live is using one moment.
on live, Brian left his computer, so I'm going to have to talk for him. On live is using structural gears and
I'm back. What's up?
gizmos. I was just explaining what you meant about the on live.
Oh, no. I was going to say on live tries to use, if I remember, uses your existing internet connection to do
That's
that.
what I mean.
But if Steam uses a local area network or dedicated hardware or some antenna they put in or something like that, which they could easily, I think, create the hardware and start selling for in the next 5 years or something, then there, problem solved. I mean, if it already seems attainable now in the world of technology, then what's stopping them?
Local area networks actually still aren't enough to run a proper stream, as evidenced by the fact that I stream my desktop computer to my iPad, and the video runs perfectly, but there's a delay on the touch on the input, which is what on live was too. The video was fine, but there was a delay in the input. So it's gonna take a dedicated hardware or marginally faster internet connections, which I don't see, especially with bandwidth caps nowadays, that happening anytime soon.
I don't know. Google Fiber is already
Yeah, it's in
coming.
3 places in the entire world.
Right, just started. Again, in 5 to 10 years, a whole lot can change.
Well, I know I'm giving you that, but as of I would say in the foreseeable future, it's just not likely, and that means the SteamOS to me is completely worthless.
Ah, that, I just really disagree with that
I
type of
just
way of
said
thinking.
in this current time frame, it's worthless to me.
Okay, yes, but the idea of it launching isn't worthless because you have to launch it
No,
ahead
it's
of
worthless
when it.
to me. I
Okay,
will not be using the SteamOS. That's not
all right,
saying it's not a bad idea. It's a bad idea.
gotcha.
I want them to release it and try to do their best, but I'm not going to use it because I see no
Yeah,
point in using it.
I don't think anyone's going to find it extremely helpful when it first comes out, just like when Steam itself first came out, or just like when a lot of new technology first comes out.
Yeah, I don't even think
Just-
the goal is to say, here is a useful product for you to buy now. I think it's like, this is a
yeah.
thing we are embarking on. Anyone who wants to get in and understand how this works now, feel free. The rest of you can wait around for like half a dozen years until this is fixed. I
Valve
don't
is a
know.
weird company, but they're very forward thinking. So
Yeah.
whether it works or not, they're trying to get ahead of the game, release this all as open source, and just give people another option on ways to think about instead of just sticking with how things are now. So yeah, I don't think any other products look super great out of the gate, except maybe the controller. I'll have to try it. But yeah, Steam box. What do you think of the actual boxes?
They haven't showed them yet.
I know, but like the hardware and the idea of buying dedicated stuff.
Don't like it still. That defeats the purpose of a PC.
What if the parts are replaceable?
They're not.
They aren't? Have they said that?
I think they did.
When did they say that?
Maybe not. Everyone that I've talked to and read about is assuming that they're not replaceable, and they're kind of upset about that.
Really
So
weird. I never.
maybe they actually didn't announce that. I don't know. Whatever.
I agree with you if they're not replaceable. That's kind of a problem. But on the other hand, I'm
This
sure lots of people just want to say, "I will pay you $400. Give me an amazing machine."
they're not gonna be $400. The machine is gonna be at least 700, 800. I know it. And
I disagree. That specific model might, but they said they're doing like a ton of different models on a ton of different scales. I'm pretty sure there will be one at 400 or less.
they gave dimensions away about what the size of the box is, and it's
Mhm.
smaller than a fat PS3,
Mhm.
but bigger than a slim one. So that
Are
makes
you?
me think that there's no way there's gonna be replaceable parts because that stuff is gonna be proprietary.
Yeah. For that machine, you might be right.
Well,
Do you
no, it
think
was
that
all the machines that they showed were all that same size. So I'm assuming they're gonna stick with
Okay.
one size box and just change the
Oh,
specs.
interesting. Okay. Yeah, Steven?
I was going to ask if you think there are enough people who are really into playing high quality PC games who would pay hundreds of dollars to do so, and yet not into high quality PC games enough to research and install their own parts on a PC, which is not that hard to do.
Depends on the price. Because
Yeah.
I know a lot of friends who are like, I can't get into PC gaming because it costs too much. But if that Steam box was like, even a lower end one was like $500, they'd be like, I would tell them, well, you can get a very, very good gaming PC for $500. Well, I don't want to build it. Well, here you go. It's already built. Oh, this is a gaming PC? Yeah, it works really good. Okay, bye. But if the cheapest one is $800, they would go, I could just build one myself, right? And I would go, yeah. And he goes, well, why don't I just do that? And I go, okay. And he's like, I don't really want to build one, so screw it. I'm gonna buy an Xbox. And I know this because in college, I dealt with about 7 or 8 people who I built computers for, and that's how they acted. It was like,
Right.
depending on the price, they would be like, oh, $500. It was just like that. They were really dumb. No. That's the mindset of people who are not gamers at heart. Like they want PC to play games,
Yeah.
but they
yeah,
aren't
yeah.
PC gamers at heart. So that was the impression. Like I think I built one for 500, one for 600 because that was the highest they would go, and even then they were complaining the entire time about having to build it. So $500 to $600 is a nice price point I think for a pre-built good gaming PC for people who don't want to build a gaming PC. But how many people there are, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It'll really depend on how much of a price reduction they can get to comparative hardware building it yourself and size reduction, all that. And of course, if they could release like a model that's cheaper than the consoles out there, that'll be one big thing. But yeah, I don't know. They could be good.
Valve is an interesting company. That's what I've concluded.
Yes,
How
Valve is
many
interesting.
interesting things do they do? They make some of the most
They
interesting
do everything
games.
interesting but Half-Life 3.
No, Half-Life 3 is a fascinating game
That is a good point.
because it doesn't exist, as far as we know.
So, Cameron, of course, the question has to be if Half-Life 3 was a SteamOS exclusive.
Yes,
Okay, you would get okay.
but
Then
that would be
I think they should do that.
that would be a bad choice.
It would get everyone to try.
That is called taking advantage of an audience.
Oh, come on. Does that mean a Spartan Assault or whatever is taking advantage of an
Yeah,
audience?
but no one likes Spartan Assault.
No, who cares about Spartan Assault? Like, the point is you have this loyal fan base who has been asking for this game for, I don't know, when did Half-Life 2 come out?
I think 1974 or something.
Yeah, I think it was 1973, actually.
2004, people.
Okay.
And they've been asking for it ever since, and then to put it on this weird thing that Cameron already said no one would really want to
Yeah,
use.
Valve has never tied their hardware to weird or their software to weird proprietary stuff that people hated. You're right. That would be very unlike them.
Nope, that's different. I'm not saying they can't tie a new property or even old properties to SteamOS. I'm saying that holding this specific game hostage.
No, and
would
Brian,
cause
that's not a good
outrage.
argument either, because Steam worked on Windows, and everyone in the world had Windows, so therefore.
But people hated Steam.
Yeah, they hated Steam, but you could still do it. It wasn't like you had to install Ubuntu to play Half-Life 2.
I know, but
It's an
similar.
issue of magnitude. It's an issue of
exactly.
magnitude.
It's the same principle. Yeah, I don't think they're actually going to do that. I actually don't think they're going to release Half-Life 3 either. So,
I know they will, but it's gonna be either a rebranding, or like I still think my biggest thought is that they're gonna be basically releasing Source 2, which is why it's taking so long, is because they're rebuilding Source from the ground up. And I have a feeling they didn't actually start building Source 2 until mid-production of Portal 2, which means they've only had about 2 years or so, 2.5, to work on Source 2, which is, I think that's why they're taking so long with Half-Life 3, or whatever is coming next, personally.
it probably helps them to not tell anybody this.
I don't think it's actually healthy not to tell anybody anything, because if they had been slowly trickling data between now and 2007, when Episode 2 came out, there wouldn't be this aura of, well, this game's not going to be good because the expectations are too high. Because we would know some more about it, and the expectations could adjust accordingly. As it is, there's either people thinking it's going to be the greatest game of all time, who might be let down if it's not, or people who think this is going to suck because it's been too long, and therefore they're already going to feel let down because it's.
What would Half-Life 3 have to excite you?
The same. Oh, me? The ending of the story, which is what they're going to be doing. But as for the general audience, I really think that the jump from Half-Life 1 to 2 needs to happen again, because Valve really was the one who pioneered the next generation of PC stuff. Because we went from things like the Quake engine, which sucked in 2003, to the Source engine. And the Source engine was mind-bogglingly good and ran on old computers, and still today looks better than the majority of console games. And there was nothing like it back then. And it needs to do it again. Whatever that might be graphics, it might be physics. Physics was a big thing with the Source engine. It might
I hope it's AI.
It might
That's
be
what I want to
water.
see.
It might be AI. Whatever they do, it needs to have that same Half-Life 1 to Half-Life 2 jump for it to be up to the expectations, and it needs to push the industry forward again like it did last time. The reason... No, that's not true. I'm not going to say that. I don't know. It just needs to push... It really needs to push the industry forward hard. Give them a little jolt. Like, we're stuck with Crysis 3 as our best-looking game. Oh, that...
Do you think it should not be a shooter?
I don't care what it is. If the game isn't good behind the graphics, though, who cares? And that's what Crysis 3 was a crappy game glossed over some nice-looking graphics.
Wait, so do you think it needs to be good behind the graphics or not?
Yeah.
He just said, what's the point if it's not excellent?
Oh, I thought you said who cares if the game is good?
No, who
But
cares,
I
who cares if the
misheard.
graphics are good? If the game isn't good.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's what I'm looking for. That's what needs to happen with Half-Life 3. It needs to not only be a very, very good game, which is a lot of things to ask, but the fact is that they did it once, and I feel like they could probably do it again. I hope. Maybe.
I hope they can. Yeah.
It'd be great if they could. I really want to have
It
Layer
would be
3.
pretty
That's a
great.
tall order. Maybe that's why they haven't released it, because like we can't figure out how to do it again.
I know that's why. That's exactly why. It's because they're doing something, even if it's not Source 2, or even if it's not something super innovative. They're stuck. I know at some meeting 2 or 3 years ago they were like, well, crap. What do we do to make this game as good as Half-Life 2 was to 1? And they sat there and twiddled their thumbs for 7 years. So I know that I know it's tempting.
I think Blizzard is in like the exact same position with Titan.
Really?
Yeah, I think everyone expects them to revolutionize MMOs again because their last MMO did that, and they've been sitting on this MMO for like 10 years, saying how are we going to make another World of Warcraft, or maybe 7 years. And I think they're in the same spot because everyone would expect the next Blizzard MMO to completely revolutionize the genre a second time.
That's what you get for being good.
Yep, exactly. And then they released Diablo 3, and they're like, no, you guys aren't good at making games. Darn it.
Well, I never liked World of Warcraft, and I don't like Diablo 3, so therefore they really don't have a very good track record.
But you really, really like StarCraft
Yeah, it doesn't quite make up for it, though.
and Warcraft.
No, I don't. Oh, the original Warcraft, yes. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. Blizzard is a great company. They just
Yes.
have some minor problems with World of Warcraft being crappy.
They do. They and Valve should do a crossover game sometime.
Valve is the better developer, in my opinion. It might be I don't know.
Valve is better at buying up other people to develop for them. This is true.
And refine that product that the person had. Did you see in the back of their drop? It looked like it was absolutely.
Oh yeah,
sucky.
yeah. They give them the budget. They give them the tools they need. That's true. They're good at finding talent. Blizzard, it seems like, is a curiously internal company.
They feel in-house, even though they have the biggest MMO in the world. I don't know why. They just keep like their original artist around, and it's like, hey,
Yeah.
look, this guy is still
Yeah.
making comic books,
And
dude.
playing in a rock band that's going to release really weird songs about our games. Anyway, we don't have that much time left, and there are other games we have played other than this
I don't know.
OS.
Considering we've been going on for so long, maybe we should kind of save all those games, like for next time, sort of like a part 2 or something.
Okay. What?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know why I can't chuckling. It's just
That's a good idea. Yeah, just kind of break this off in the
And
middle.
because,
that's
you
a-
know,
Yeah, do
we
little,
do have
a little
to-
two-parter, where we could
Yeah.
talk about
That's
some.
not a terrible idea.
No, that's not a bad idea at all.
on another note. Do you guys realize that we are really close to 100 episodes?
Oh, are we?
Like
90,
really
99
close.
is close to 100.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's like the fact we started this episode out with.
I know. Coming back around to the beginning, we're like a circle of friends. But yeah, I'm gonna say that we have some very special adventures planned for episode 100. It's gonna be very special.
Isn't it?
Don't tell
I
anyone.
like whispering.
I do too. We should do a whole podcast of whispering.
That's
Yeah,
not a good
no.
idea because I feel like that would hurt my throat.
Oh no. Okay, we won't do that then. Oh, Steven.
Yes.
How do you like Death Note so far?
I like Death Note more with every episode.
What episode are
That's
you
interesting.
on?
I'm.
We're gonna make this conversation as stilted as possible.
I guess we
What
should.
about
reveal it
Death
now.
Note is in it that you like?
We script out all of our podcasts.
Yep, exactly.
That's why sometimes we get mad at Cameron because he goes off script and starts saying he hates us all.
I hate
I
you
know.
all.
You're not supposed to say that. You're supposed
Oh,
to say,
dang it, Cameron.
Cameron, you're supposed to say that at the 55-minute mark, not at the 54 and 44-second mark.
Sorry.
All right.
Anyway, what are you saying, Brian?
He was
No,
asking
I
you
asked you what episode you're on.
Oh. I don't.
The number is 60.
Trying
Here,
not to spoil anything.
Steven, no. I want you to do a big whoop, whoop, whoop. Death Note,
Oh.
spoiler warning. Whoop, whoop,
Okay.
whoop, in editing.
For the most of the rest of this podcast, probably we're going to be talking about Death Note in a spoilery fashion. So let's do the spoiler thing. Go.
Okay, spoiler
the
thing.
spoil-
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yep. Look how spoilery it is.
We
Okay.
need an official spoiler jingle.
Whoop, whoop,
Steven, I just want to put work on you.
Yeah.
Next up,
Maybe. Okay. I'm only going to do one jingle per episode.
Okay, fine.
So is it going to be StarCraft or is it going to be
Just
spoiler?
use my whoop, whoop, whoop.
Mm-hmm.
all right.
Very good. Okay. Anyway, the let's see. We just got to the episode. Okay, Light has decided to lock himself away. He's like, throw away the key, man. I might be Kira. I might be a crazy man. And so his dad says, throw away the key. I might be a crazy man too. Let's see. So that happened. What did it leave off on?
It
last episode?
ended
Misa's
with
captured too at that point.
yes, Misa's captured
Yes,
too,
she's
and
captured.
Elle is just completely confused about what's going on because they both seem to have lost their memories.
Well,
Yes.
Misa has lost her memories.
No, no, no. At this point, it looks like Light has as well. He's insisting that he's not Kira and didn't know what had come over him.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
L
okay, that's
is
happened
just
then.
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
And so the last thing I had commented upon when we finished watching it was, I think Light might be overextending his schemes, because it's a brilliant plan to actually, cause memories to be lost to fool L. I mean, like, the only thing that's really going to fool L is someone being completely honest, and that seems to be working. But it's under such suspicious circumstances that this is clearly the workings of Kira. So I wonder if the only way, what Light is counting on is for L to assume that Kira messed with these two people's memories, and is still
Like
out
mind
there.
controlled them.
Yeah, so it's like, oh wow, look at this girl and look at Light. They've both been acting weird and now can't remember anything. They must be puppets of Kira. And so I suppose I could get them off the trail, but it still seems really risky.
Well, they have no evidence that they actually were Kira at all in general, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So even by erasing the memories, and saying that I'm not Kira, it's like, well, Elle had no proof that they were Kira in the first place.
I guess it could.
No, but he was pretty sure.
Well,
Yeah, like
you could be super sure, but he still had no proof. And that's how most of the show has been so far. Was Elle is so like a Light has got to be, because they put the cameras in in the house, and he's very certain, but it's not any proof. So how does he know? He can't prove it. That's the point.
He can't prove it, but they both know that they both know that they both know.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's
And
obvious. Yeah.
It's very risky to be coming out there and saying, I am Kira, letting everyone in the Force know I might be Kira. So even if they get him off the trail, that will never leave their minds. Everyone will always be thinking from now on, what if Light is Kira? They were convinced he was. Like, to put him that's like hiding in plain sight to
me,
a scary degree.
When I was watching it, what seemed the riskier part is how is Light ever sure he's going to be able to get a hold of the Death Note again? Like when I was
Well,
watching
I'm
that.
sure he has a plan.
He has a contingency plan. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's really, if he, like, at this point I'm using ifs and stuff because Steven doesn't know whether or not, if he really gave up the Death Note and lost his memories, that means he does not remember his plan. So
I wonder,
he would either have to be, like, completely counting on whoever else he entrusted the plan to, or just said, I bet my mind erased self would do this, but all of his plans and stuff are completely erased from his memory, so he's no longer in control, and that seems super risky for someone.
I think his actual thought was, even before he got captured, or he turned himself in, was, I think he said something like, being with L, I know eventually I will be able to reach the Death Note again, regardless of the circumstances, because L will find the Death Note eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what I think his thought process
and surely
was.
he's trusting Ryuk to a certain degree. Like, that guy isn't his little servant, but he's stuck with him so far. So he's probably going to execute the little bits of the plan he wants him to.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah. It's really hard to talk about this though, because I don't want to spoil anything. So let's stop. I don't want to spoil anything for you by accident. So let me know. I want to talk to you again when you've passed the halfway mark. Because that's a fun little arc. So let's do it again, even maybe before the podcast next week. I mean.
Yes. It's a very good show.
Yes,
I will say that I'm enjoying it a whole lot. It's a different show than I've ever really watched before. It's a show that will spend 15 minutes just having people change their hair color as they think about things and make plans.
I think, and this is not a spoiler, well, not really, for the earlier episodes. Do you think it would have been better or worse had Misa never gotten the Death Note?
Better for the show?
For Light.
Well, it really depends how all this pans out, but I think ultimately it was a bad thing because it forced his hand over and over. He made some pretty smart plans, but he didn't have any time to think about it.
Here's an interesting concept, and this is, again, not spoiler for where you are so far. In between where Light gets captured and when L first sees Light, there's a deleted scene that only is shown in a special that was released after the show finished airing. And it's where L invites Light into a secret conference area, and they watch a movie together. and L had done a fake tape acting as the real Kira, and telling the second Kira, Misa, to never record a broadcast again. And they broadcasted that on the air, so it was the real Kira going, "Second Kira, if you ever broadcast again, I will surely kill you," blah, blah, blah. And so then Misa responded back and said, "Don't worry, Kira, I have the eyes, and I won't kill you." And then that immediately led L to know, eyes? What eyes? What are you talking about? And she also said, and you can see me by the god or something. She mentioned Shinigamis in some way.
Uh-huh.
And that both tipped L to the eyes and the Shinigamis.
Wait, that happened in the show, though.
It does, yeah.
Oh, you were only talking about the other part that was a deleted scene?
Well, the deleted scene is when L shows Light that, and he it's really funny actually, because they're sitting in a movie theater and L sits there and gets up on his legs and just stares straight into Light's face as this is being played, because Light hadn't seen it yet, and so he was trying to get, because L is Light's super pissed, obviously, that Misa would reveal such valuable information, and so L is looking straight into Light's eyes and trying to get a reaction out of him, but Light plays it completely cool. It's really a good scene, but yeah, that did happen in the main show. How did it happen? I forget.
How that happened is it wasn't in a movie theater or anything, but they're just like, "Hey, Light, look, second Kira sent a message back to that fake one you wrote," and she said, like, "Don't worry, I have the eyes. It's good. We should meet and show our Shinigami to each other."
That's right. Yeah, okay.
But they didn't have L looking for the reaction.
They changed the scene up, I suppose, in the deleted scenes. It's been a while since I've watched the show. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was the biggest thing that I think Misa hindered with Light was letting L know that there was possibly some supernatural stuff going on.
And the other problem is her biggest asset to him, finding out L's name. She never even got to do that before she lost her memory.
Yeah.
And then on top of all of that, like every step of the way, he would try to cover for her, and then she'd run onto the scene and attach herself to him, and everyone would connect Light with Misa over and over again.
No.
Yeah.
And there was no way to detach them from one another. And so when she came up as the second Kira, first Kira is going to be Light. So it was I think it was a big problem.
It would have been interesting to see if it had fallen in the hands of someone like as smart as Light.
There's no one, though. I think those are the two smartest people in the world.
They do get that impression, yes.
So that's Death Note time, everyone.
Death Note time, make a jingle. No.
No more jingles.
Death
No.
that was okay. All right. Thanks for making all the jingles today, Cameron.
You're welcome.
We have a "You're welcome" jingle now. Good gosh, our whole podcast could be jingles.
Disembodied Voices podcast. Yay!
Have a week. All right. Speaking of, that has been another episode of Disembodied Voices. Thank you, Cameron, for showing up even though you're tired and grumpy.
As always, pleasure to be here and be grumpy.
Yes, as always. Steven.
Hello.
Thank you for taking a break from your strenuous game of Tokyo Jungle.
It was hard.
Yeah. The game or
That's what you were doing?
Yeah.
You guys were playing Tokyo? Really?
Yeah.
Guys.
It's a good game.
I have to sit here and set 17 alarms to wake up in the morning to get to this stupid podcast on time, and you guys were playing Tokyo Drift, and you couldn't make it on time?
Jungle!
I am very upset with you guys.
I have almost accidentally called it Tokyo Drift like 8 times.
I don't understand why is it. Why are you upset?
Because
would you rather we were in the other room, like smashing our toes with hammers or something, just to make sure we're having a bad day? Okay, I admit we shouldn't have let it influence our lateness. But hey, I looked up at the last second and said, "What time is it?" And if I hadn't done that, we probably would have just kept playing for another 20 minutes or something.
I actually had decided if you weren't there within 10 minutes, I was going to go back to sleep.
Oh, I was hoping you'd record a single podcast.
No, I don't have that much drive. Sorry.
That would have been amazing. I don't know what you would have talked about the whole time, but it would have been great.
We'll never know.
We won't. Though we should all try that sometime. 1 week we should all record 20-minute podcasts alone.
I already did that. It was pretty...
No. All three of us record 20-minute podcasts alone and then string them together.
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
But all given the same list of topics, and we all discuss them on our own.
Yeah.
Anyway, I look forward to that some other time. And part 2 of this this episode another time. For Stephen and Cameron, the absent Zachary, and myself, this has been Disembodied Voices. Visit our website at thedvcast.com. Go leave us a review on iTunes or something. Go leave us comments. And we've got a lot of exciting and cool announcements coming up soon, so don't go... Well, I mean, go places, but, like, listen to us again next week. Have a week.
Bye!
There you go. That's enthusiasm.